Good evening. Welcome along to the Winners and Losers show. I, of course, am your old host back for the one night special. It's me, Phil. And joining me tonight is beside me with the big cup is Kev. Say hello to Kev.
Hello,
and then there's good man, Kev. And then down. I keep doing this. There's Shane there. I put my finger down to Shane's gaff. Say hello, Shane.
Hello there.
Good man, great to see us. Right, look, great to have you all in tonight for the old Winners and Losers podcast. It's great to have everyone along in the comments of the chats. I'll be keeping an eye on the comments. Any good comments, I'll put up on screen. Do we still get super chats? I don't know if we get super chats. If you want to give money to us, do a super chat, and I'll put it up on screen. Right? That's how it rolls. I used to be very professional at this once upon a time, but I'm not now. Anyway, right. So we're doing the winners and the losers tonight. We're going to be in out, shaking it all about till 11 o'clock. Then I'm off because I want to go to bed before 12 o'clock tonight. I don't know where Gav is. Thankfully, I've absolutely no idea where Gav is. So he's just giving me the controls for the night. I don't have a winner and loser this week because I don't need to. I can just sit back and adjudicate. I think we're going to start with Kev's winner, then Shane's loser, then Kev's loser, and then to finish off with Shane's winner because I think that's the best way to roll. The best bit is due to my advancing years, I can't remember whose winners and losers they are. So it's going to be like exciting for me. I'll be like one of the viewers tonight when you tell me which is which. So that's how it's going to be a good one. And I may give some strange faces when I see the names because I could be like, what's he talking about? But anyway, that's it. Kev, before we kick into it, anything interesting you want to have a quick chat about before we kick off here tonight?
Not all point. Just seen their Liverpool women are after signing a new striker, World Cup top scorer. Don't ask me to pronounce her name because I can't. But it looks like they're gearing up the women are gearing up to have a bright go this season. So, after the World Cup to happen, at the end of the day, they have to capitalize on this, the Women's Premier League now, because the interest is definitely there. The TV audience was there all the way through the tournament. And seeing the hullabaloo was going on in Spain, that's madness altogether. But the WSL will be starting back, and it's the only football that's free to air anywhere, apart from League of Ireland over here. The RT is showing one game a week, but the WSL is cheap to go. It's included in your Liverpool season ticket if you want to go, and even if you want to bring your kids along, it costs nothing. It's a great introduction and a great way for people to get involved in it. And it looks like Liverpool are signing some good players, so it'll be worth keeping an eye on.
Good stuff, especially if you're into the football. Shane, how are you getting on, bud?
Good, Phil. Yeah, not a bother. All quiet. I haven't been on the while. I think I've had me blacklisted there for a while. But
is that like a Halloween blind? Could we see like a scary face pop underneath the gaff?
Yeah, you probably could do. Yeah, you probably could do.
Be loving that.
Yeah, be good.
Hello. You might get surprised.
Can I ask Davo one question before we start off, though?
Yeah.
Shane, did you watch boxing over the weekend?
I did.
What did you make to that punch?
Because
I know you love your boxing. I love your boxing.
I thought it was on the low side of borderline. Yeah. I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was. I don't think Dubois was robbed. I put it that way, Kev. No, I absolutely don't think he was robbed.
I think it was the right result.
Yeah, I think it was on the low side of borderline. Yeah.
If that was in London, I don't know if the referee would go the same way.
I see him Ben Davidson, the trainer, saying if your team do what, you think it's low, and if your team music, you think it's or it was all right if your team do what, and if you thought it was low of your music. That's the way it goes.
I don't know what to talk about. Was there what happened?
Bit of controversy over a low blow, Phil, in a boxing match, whether it was low or whether it wasn't. But the right result happened anyway because your man got his ears boxed off for the other 8 rounds.
Sure.
8 rounds, 2 minutes and 50 seconds.
That's all you need, isn't it? I was too busy chasing spiders as I sent the picture of you. Do you see the size of that thing?
Yeah.
It's monstrous.
They're all coming out now, are they? This time of year when the weather starts to turn cold. Jesus!
Yeah.
Oh, if my missus saw that, she'd be gone.
Yeah, I went under the bed and I had to find. Do you know what I found under the bed to catch it? Right now, no, I did. Like obviously, you can see it's alive, and it was trying to get out of the glass there, right? But I found it. You know, this is what under the beds are handy for, because there's always stuff under there you've forgotten about, right? I had a roll of Christmas paper, so it was nice and long, so you could sort of direct the spider back. Right, so the spider came flying, but then it went in between the wardrobe and the presses and under a bag. That was like it was tricky, because he gone into one of the bags. Now I wasn't putting my hand into a bag, right, to get it. So he went.
If he had went in, you could have just said, look, he's gone. He's off that leg, and we leave him to it.
There could have been fun though, had somebody gone out and like opened the bag and the spider leapt out with him. That would have been interesting in terms of what was there, but it didn't. So it went under the bags and managed to get a glass out, and then I can't remember. I put something over the top of it and brought him out and freed him in the back garden. And I think he's gone into the shed now, which is where I spend an awful lot of the time fixing bikes and stuff. So I'm not really happy about that whatsoever. I'm starting to panic that there's a whole. Well, there's spiders at our front door, and it started off at 1 in June, and I looked out the other day and I counted 9 of them. So it's definitely had a family of them, and it's like they're all mad. Anyway, right, that's my spider catching. Shane watching low punches, and we're getting ready for Halloween, and Kev bringing us the up-to-date transfer news on women's football, because at least Liverpool's doing a bit of business there, because they're not doing a bit of business anywhere else. On to the podcast now, because that's wasted 6 minutes of the 54 now that we've allotted for this podcast. Kev, what did I say? Give me your winner. Or loser.
Winner of the week. My winner of the week was Joe Gomez, purely and simply because the absolute torrent of abuse this kid gets for not living up to the expectation that fans have in their heads of what a backup centre back should be when they're playing for Liverpool. Now, go back to probably his best season was 1920. He played 43 games that season. And before his injuries, he was up there with the best up and coming centre backs in the league. To me, he gets on with his job. He doesn't complain. You don't see him moaning. You don't hear news stories about him. And to be thrown into that game yesterday, because I fully expected yesterday, if Virgil didn't get sent off and the game didn't pan out the way it did, I thought Matip would have played an hour and Gomez would have come on for the last 25, 30 minutes. First of all, Klopp sends him out to go and warm up on 8 minutes because Trent is having a right wobbler. And he must have been thinking in, he said, okay, I'm going to come on at right back. And I've got Gordon there, and and he's mentally getting himself right for Anthony Gordon. And then all of a sudden, Virgil gets himself sent off. Joe, you're going in left centre back. You've got an hour left to play in the game. By the way, we're 1-0 down, and you've got to hold out for dear life. And he did. He did everything you could ask of him. He won every aerial duel that he was involved in. He won pretty much all of his ground duels, bar 1 or 2, picked up some good fouls along the way. Did exactly what you want to do. He's 4th choice centre-back. Did exactly what you want him to do. And for a kid who, if he's 26 years of age, you can nail down, be certain that he knows what's being said about him online. He knows the abuse that at the start of the transfer window, right? Matip's got to go. Gomez has got to go. We got to get this fella, that fella, the other fella, because they're all better than this fella. And you look at the centre-back quartet up and down the league, and I still maintain that our 4 are as good as most centre-back quartets in the league. Man City outside of it, okay? You look at who's backing up for pretty much every other side in the league. They're as good as anyone else. To me, his problem has always been between his ears, his confidence. And the more he plays, the better he's going to get. I think the Europa League is going to be an absolute blessing for him. That and his versatility, his ability to play right back across any of the back 4 positions, really, he can do a job. But I thought yesterday he was outstanding. And with all of the credit that Darwin gets and Allison gets and all of the other players get, he comes in and he steadies the ship and he does a job. And the longer the game evolved, the longer the game went on, he grew into the game and he got better and better and better. And he just looked reassured. And if he can take that and kick on from it, I think he'll be fine. I mean, I didn't realize how long he's been at the club. He made his debut for Liverpool in 2015. You know, he's probably, if not the longest, he's one of the longest serving players at the club now. And he's still got a good chunk of his career to go. And if he can sort out the confidence side of it, I don't think he has a problem with ability. I think for me, if his confidence is right, he'll be good. He'll be a great asset for the club going forward. Because to go out and replace him, you look at how much average to good centre backs are going for these days. 50, 60, 70 million quid. It's an absolute crazy thing to be going out spending that kind of money for someone who's going to sit on the bench who isn't going to be much better or as good as what we already have. So for me, that's why he's my winner of the week. I thought he was brilliant yesterday. Definitely deserves all the credit in the world for his performance.
Davo.
Yeah, Jesus, I'd have to agree. I won't. I suppose, Jesus, we're all hypocrites. I won't be hypocritical. I've given Gomez fair share of stick over the years. I think Kev is right. I think
we all have.
I don't think it's ability. I think it is between his ears. What I'm critical of him sometimes is I don't think he likes to fight enough. Sometimes you see him going to pieces. Sometimes over in Naples that time in the Champions League, I thought he was deplorable. That he didn't really fancy it. But I have to say, yesterday, Kev was spot on. Probably thinks he's going on right full. Ends up going on centre back. And then when Matip goes off, he's the senior centre back. And he's the one talking to Kwanzaa, talking him through. And I don't know whether it was the winner or the equaliser that are celebrating. And they all get down celebrating with Darwin. He gives Darwin a pat on the head and he turns straight away and collars Kwanzaa. And basically you can see him having a word with him, telling them what they need to do maybe for the next 5 or whatever. I can't remember. Like I said, I can't remember if it was the first goal or the winner. But look, he was really, really good yesterday. You have to give him his due as critical as I've been of him. He's very versatile. I was at a game a couple of years ago. He actually played right full, and he was actually very good against Norwich at home. The Europa League you'd imagine he'll get a lot of games. And yeah, look, what more can you say? Look, he was really, really good yesterday. With all the subs, you'd have to say, I thought he was really, really good. Yeah.
Really?
Really, really, really good.
So I think it's an overreaction, Kev. I think you've had a massive overreaction. I think it's worth pointing out a good performance, but I think the book of evidence over the last 18 months is very weighing on the other side. I think it's fantastic that he stood up and was counted for in the game yesterday when he was asked to come in, but like it suited him. I think it showed up more the problems and the faults that exist in him as a defender and why he doesn't suit the typical way we like to defend, than it actually gave us realistic levels of ability that we can expect from him. The gap between him and Allison wasn't that big. We weren't playing a high line. It meant that they could sit deep and he wasn't getting exposed to balls behind him. So when I look at it, I'm saying, right, now we've seen the type of defender Gomez has become, because since he had that massive knee injury, he's lost a yard of pace. And that yard of pace was his big recovery thing. If you think of his best season when he played alongside Van Dijk, the amount of times he let the forward player or the attacking player get a step in him, but he was able to recover in the same way Van Dijk was able to recover, which meant that he wasn't being as mistake and error prone. And since then, he hasn't been able to do it. So, I think he's had a great performance yesterday, but I think the performance showed up where his limitations exist as a player, as opposed to some type of renaissance for Joe Gomez. Unless we go and play very deep, he's going to get exposed as the season goes on. And I think I've more interest in Kwanzaa coming on, okay, than either Matip or Gomez as centre backs. That's where I just think.
The way I look at Joe Gomez, and you're right, what you're saying. Yesterday, the game was all in front of him. You didn't have to worry about balls in behind or what have you. But saying that, the only time that he was run past was Miguel Almiron got past him and got a shot off that went in, hit the post and went out. But he matched him for pace. He matched everyone for pace that he was being ran at. But at the same time, if you want your centre back to defend, he can do the job. He can do that. He'll be tested when we're playing against sides that we're going to dominate the ball, in Europe especially. And we'll see what it's like with balls over the top. But I fully believe that a volume of games that he plays, he will get better, because ability was never a problem for him when he played games. If you're not playing and the only action that you're seeing is the odd 20 minutes off the bench, you're thrown in as an emergency because everyone's injured, and then you don't play another game for 6 weeks, that helps nobody, especially not someone like him. So if he's playing every Thursday for now until Christmas, which is basically what's going to happen now, we're going to be playing 3 games a week from now until the end of the year, then it will make or break his career. But at 26 years of age, he's got to be given that opportunity to fail more than anything else, because if he succeeds, he saves us an absolute fortune. Because Gerard Kwanzaa, when he went on loan to Bristol Rovers, did really, really well. Jeff Twentyman did an interview with, I think it was either the Antwerp rapper Redmen TV, and Jeff Twentyman is the local Bristol BBC football correspondent, has been for years. I remember him as a player at Bristol Rovers, came through the ranks at Liverpool, that he was a youth player at Liverpool, and he was convinced that Gerard Kwanzaa is going to be an absolute superstar for Liverpool. He just said he hasn't seen a centre-back able to do what he could do in the lower leagues at that level in a long, long time. But at the same time, you want him to bed in over a period of time, same way as Colwell is at Chelsea. They're the same age, but they're not the same level of experience. Colwell played in the under-21 Euros. Kwanzaa was involved with England under-20s. I think there's definitely a player there to be nurtured and brought on. But Joe Gomez at 26 years of age, if you're going to go out and buy a homegrown player to come into the squad and replace him, there's not many around who you'd look at and say, okay, I've got to go and spend 50, 60, 70 million pounds to bring in this guy. Is he that much better than what we have at the moment? I don't see him. I don't see those players out there at the minute.
So Marcus Barnes was saying, no, I haven't that. His pace is still there. But that was a super chat. And he got £2. So that £2 can go towards Gav's cans for the rest of the week. So thanks for that, Marcus Barnes. You might be wrong, but I said I'd put the super chats up on screen. So fair play in terms of stuff.
But I think fair enough pace and over the top. But I don't think that's just Gomez. I think every one of our back four struggle when the ball gets played over the top and leave the turn.
Well,
I think all of them struggle.
But see, that's a bigger question, Davo, because
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but so this idea about great covering, like if you go back 3 years ago when we were really good, right? They didn't have that weakness, so the balls could get played behind them, and they're able to cover the ground and they're able to manage with it. There's a part that's to do with age, because obviously Van Dijk is getting older, right? So they brought Canase in, Matip's getting older. And you look at Gomez, as Kev, to your point, he's 26. It's not like this fella's 23 and is on the upside. At 26, you're hitting what you are. And in my view, and it's just my view, when I look at it, I'm going, right, if you're going to change how we defend, then there's a longer term place for him in the squad. If we're not going to change how we're going to defend, then fundamentally, 2 of the 4 centre backs we have at the club don't fit the profile anymore because of their age and their skill sets. One you keep because he's probably still the best defender in the Premier League, even though he hasn't been at the levels he was before in terms of what it is, but it's still an elite level that he's at. And then the other fella, look, you got to call it for what it is. As they say, ability is the best ability. Availability is the best ability, right? And Canase is like Thiago. If you're available for 60%, 50 to 60% of games per season, that's an issue. So I look.
Well, I'm just looking here. Joe Gomez in total for his 8 years at the club has only played 175. He's made 175 appearances for someone who's been at the club that long. He made 31 appearances last year.
That's great.
You know, but his problem is most of those appearances are going to be off the bench. I think he made 21 appearances in the league last year, but the year before he only made 8. The year before that he only made 7. So 2 horrendous injuries in that time. And yeah, he's got to show this season his worth, as someone said in the comment there. He has to show his worth to the squad. But at the end of the day, he's been here that long enough to earn that time to show that he can do it. Klopp has to give him his head a bit. That's all.
I can accept a good performance. Class them in the winners for me, Kev, is a mighty stretch, especially with the fellas that are on the
easy ones and gone for
winner of the week, though. Winner of the week, Phil. It's of the week.
He wasn't even winner of the afternoon, right? He was winner of the people called. he was winner of the people called Joe Gomez on the team. So we move on.
No.
Shane, give us your loser of the week. You can say Joe Gomez if you want. After that conversation, there's no problem at all. So go on.
Yeah, push me towards loser of the week being Gomez. Now I went for the Everton, our neighbours across the park. There was a few I could have gone for, but I decided to go for the low hanging fruit. Jesus, it was like a relegation 6 points in the third game of the season. Now listen, I'm fully aware Everton are going to be shite all season and stay up. It's just what they'll do. There'll be 3 worse teams than they'll probably stay up with a week or 2 left in the season. It'd be great if they got down. Gav is going to get
sorry, Shane, just to correct you, there's only 2 teams going down because Luton's already gone. Let's be honest about this. There's not even time to pretend.
Yeah, I agree with you. They'll be probably mathematically down by Christmas, Luton. But Gav is going to get very excited again at the thought of everything going down. But they'll be shy all year and stay up. But fucking hell, no goal scored in the first 3 games. Like fucking 3 defeats. Like a Wolves game that everyone was talking about was a 6-pointer, as I said, in the third game of the season. They're after signing 2 centre forwards, 2 Portuguese centre forwards. Yeah. One of them, I think, is like 19. I don't think he scored a goal, or he scored 2 goals in his career, something like that. The other fella they're after signing from Udinese, he was like 25. He's kind of a 1-3, 1-4 merchant. Uncapped though, 25 years of age and uncapped for Portugal. Now, Portugal have some decent centre forwards, but you'd imagine if you were anyway decent, you'd had a cap or 2, so he's uncapped, bet out 35 million or something like that. So there's eggs, like Calvert-Lewin can't stay fit. Michael Keane was thrown on up front as an auxiliary centre forward off the bench. He should have been out of the club years ago. And I think more that like the fans showed at the end of the year when they get behind them, they can make a big difference. But also on the flip side of that, when they're not behind you at Goodison, I'd say it's a very, very, very hard place to play. And as Dicko always tells us, the Bills were coming very, very loud and proud there at full time on Saturday. They're in the shit. They're in the shit big time. And as I said already, I think they will get out of it because there'll be 3 worse teams than them. But
it's hard.
God, they are shite.
Right. Before I go to Kev, like we keep saying there's 3 worse teams than there is, right? So I threw up the 3. So Luton and Sheffield United are seen as the 2 worst, right? It's actually hard to see who's worse than Everton at this moment in time.
Burnley are bad as well, Phil. Burnley are bad.
But are they worse than Everton, Shane?
Well, it's hard to know. They've a game in hand of them. They've only played 2 games, Burnley.
Like, Kev, are Everton not just another Burnley?
No, at least Burnley try to play football. The difference
now they do.
Now they do under Vincent Kompany, yeah. And the thing is, I don't think Burnley have the players to play the way Vincent Kompany wants them to play in this league. I think you can do a lot of that in the Championship, and confidence breeds confidence, and you can feed off that. But I watched the highlights of the Everton Wolves game tonight, and they scored 2 goals. One of them was just offside. Well, both of them were offside, but 2 of them were really close. They created enough chances to score goals, and Wolves got their goal late in the game, and it was just a bad goal to give up. I mean, Everton's problem is
Pickford should come for that, Kev.
Yeah, he has to.
He has to. Off your man's back about 5 yards out, like,
and he doesn't jump. You know, I mean, he's a big unit. He's 6'7", but he stays planted, and it comes off the back of his shoulder and goes in.
Yeah,
it's one of those. But the thing is, I expected better of Wolves after I watched the Wolves game against Manchester United. That were really good. But then when you watch Manchester United since then, and you realise how bad they are, it puts it into perspective. You know, when you look at the first 3 fixtures that Everton have played, 2 at home, you didn't expect them to get anything against Villa away anyway. Fulham had a good season last year, but they had trouble going out with Mitrovic. They were, Everton, they lost 1-0. They needed to get something out of that Wolves game. And as Chris said in the chat there, they're sat on no points, no goals, 2 home games gone already. And it's their home form that's going to keep them up if they're going to stay up.
And I think their run of fixtures, from after the international break for 6 or 7 games is really poor. I think I read that somewhere now. I could be wrong, but I think I read they've a really tough run after the international break.
Yeah, they've come back. They have Sheffield United away, then they have Arsenal, Brentford, Luton in September.
But can I just to the point, right? That there's 3 better teams. Like, look at what started for them, right? Jordan Pickford, arguably the worst goalkeeper in the Premier League. Okay, some lad called Patterson, no idea who he is. A fella called Brantwaite, I think he was in an Eden Blyton book about the famous 5 about 64 years ago, right? James Tarkowski, he's plays for Burnley. Ashley Young retired 8 years ago. Like, they brought him back just to play left back. Ashley Young, right? Ashley Young was playing in the 1998 United team, for fuck's sake. Idrissa Gueye, like, he played for West Brom when Roy Hodgson was the manager. James Garner, that's not even a thing. That's an actor off one of those Netflix films that Pete's in, right? Amadou Onana, he also plays in goal for United. And A. Decore, I don't know who he is. Norman Dobbin, that's not a real name. That's a regen on Pro Evo 6. Like, come on, Norman Dobbin. Like, that's something you get at the Grand National.
Sorry, did he really play?
Yeah. And then there's another fella called Arnaud Danjuma. Now think about that. Now you're telling me that there's 3 better teams. Everyone that I've named there is a championship level player. So at some point, you can't outperform the level of players you have in your team.
But you love this one, Phil. You know your man Danjuma there, you just said there.
Yeah.
He was going to them in the January transfer window, and then Spurs came in like in the last hour and he went, "Oh, fuck it, I'll go to Spurs." And then Everton signed him anyway in the summer. after
it was mad.
After telling them to fuck off, then they went back in. He goes, "Yeah, do you know what? Oh, sorry about that. I will sign this summer."
No, honestly, I keep saying, I just keep looking at it, and I'm really struggling, right? When you put the facts and the evidence in front of you, right? And I'm straight with you. I actually think losers of the week. I think it's a fair show for losers of the week, right? When you put that up in front of you, you go, Jesus, they're in a lot of trouble in comparison. Like, last year did more names that you recognised, and people say, "Oh, it's just names and doesn't mean performance level." Yeah, I get that, but like, if you sign a lot of championship level players, there's an inevitability that it's going to, and they've no money. They can't spend money because they think there's FFP rules, but they've got nobody to lash a load of money into them, say like Newcastle or Chelsea or whatever it is, right? Because
it's not even that now. You look at it, even if you're a player and you're going to look at, okay, I can go to Everton and struggle. It'll probably do me no favors if they go down. Or I can go to Southampton and they'll come back up. They'll be on TV. I'll play well. I'm playing a good side. They're playing good football. I'll score loads of goals. And I'll be a year in England and I'll be promoted into the Premier League. You know, it's... you can't flirt with relegation as often as they're doing and not fall. And the thing is, anything could happen if they get a points. If they get a points deduction, they're gone. Whatever slim chance they have of staying up, they'll be gone if they get any kind of a points deduction. I struggle to see where they're going to score. Where they're scoring enough to go. This Beto guy that they're after signing from Portugal is 6'4", but he's at that, and like you said, Davo, he's 25 years of age. If you haven't even had a cap in a friendly for Portugal in the days where they don't want to take Andre Silva, Ronaldo, and anything like that, and you can't even get on the bench and make a substitute appearance for him. Yeah, I'm sorry.
And look at they've one stat, I don't know whether they still have. I think they have the highest wages to turnover percentage in the league. I think they're up in the mid 80s at one stage. Now I don't know if they're after taking that down maybe over the last couple of transfer windows, getting rid of a few. I don't know, but they're really poorly run. They pay big wages. They've
paying big wages.
Yeah, they are. Well, they are paying fucking big wages though. They're paying like they've one of the highest percentage ratio wages to turnover in the Premier League. I'm not even joking.
No wonder Norman Dobbin gave up being a jockey to play for Everton. Like,
and obviously this crowd that was investing in them is after pulling out and stuff like that. And also, I wouldn't say someone in the chat is saying Calvert-Lewin is never fit. He can't stay fit. Poor cunt fucking got mashed teeth like Rocky Dennis coming off the pitch there a couple of weeks ago with his cheekbone. Look, as you said there, Phil, I think it's even more stark when you start reading out the names of the team. Norman Dobbin, I never heard that fella. I've absolutely never heard him.
I was fascinated. When I was there going, right, this is unbelievable science, because like Everton always comes up, and somebody always just says Everton every week for losers of the week, right? So you have to do your research on who's playing for them. I mean, it's when you see it and you've got absolutely no idea who these lads are. I was just there going, this is amazing. James Garner, some randomer, and Norman Dobbin.
James Garner, they brought him from Manchester United, and the hope that he might develop into something. If he was going to be in, if Manchester United wouldn't let him go, they paid decent money for him. I think they paid 16 million for him.
What?
It's still a Seamus Coleman at the club.
They paid 16 million for.
I think it was something like 16 million they paid for this kid.
Wow.
Onana, they paid 30 million for him. Something like that. Decore they bought back from Decore they bought from
wasn't
Watford.
it? Yeah.
Idris Ganache they bought from got him back from PSG because he flopped. And I mean, you're flopping in PSG.
She can't run. Your man Gay can't run. He can't get around the pitch anymore. I like Onana. I believe he's after falling off, not falling off a cliff. I believe he's been very, very poor the first 3 games, but I thought he was good for them last season. I think he's a good player, Onana, but fucking like that.
Jordan Pickford's going to be a busy boy this season because their best chance of getting a point was going to be at Wolves. Because
if he's going to be busy, it's not going to be making saves. It's going to be shaving his locks too high and running around shouting nothing at anybody because he's dropped another one to the net. He is an absolute myth. The fella is a hologram. You could just kick a ball at him and he'll dive flappity flaps out of the way. He's terrible. He's like a bad impersonation of Mignolet. That's the best way to describe him. He's awful. He is awful, and he's still the England's number 1. And it's unbelievable that they've been lulled into this idea that the fella can even play and go. He is disastrous.
He can kick the ball really far, though.
Yeah,
he can kick the ball really far.
I absolutely 100% concur with everything you just said there, Phil.
Right. Davo, where are we going to? For you gave me loser, so Kev, give me your loser of the week.
My loser of the week is Mike Dean.
I'm going to really struggle with this one because, to be honest with you, I think he was a winner of the week. He exposed them.
I'll tell you what.
Do you know what I mean?
Because I think this the wrong.
I'll be back to you. If Emma pointed out the right dishwasher's finished, hang on. I have to go.
Priorities. Look, you do got to do your housekeeping, what have you? But look, I did this the wrong way around because I heard the apology on Soccer Saturday. What's he apologizing for? What's he said? Then I found out what he said. And I thought, he can't have said that. That's just ridiculous. Then I came home today and I listened to the entire podcast between 2 of the biggest egos I've heard in a podcast in a long time, in Simon Jordan and Mike Dean. And I listened to the whole thing from start to finish. And on a level, I'm sat there and I commend him for being honest in some ways, because he come out and he said probably what we were all thinking, that at times they will protect their mate. And when you listen to the context of what he said, and then you see the PGMOL release a statement that makes absolutely no sense. Because the PGMOL released a statement basically saying our VAR referees don't do what Mike Dean said that they do. But Mike Dean said he did it while he was the fucking VAR. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, that made absolutely no sense. And it just got worse from there. He threw a blanket over all of them. And it's in the back of people's heads now that everything that we thought that could be wrong with VAR, he's proved it. That they can't be trusted to make these decisions. The big calls, they can't be trusted to make these big calls. Where I'll give him massive credit for is what he turned around and said is that he was not capable of doing the job as a video assistant referee. He said he lost the feel of what it's like to be in the middle of the pitch, of making instant decisions. First off, he sees straight away. He makes decisions when he's on the pitch. He was dreading a decision that he'd have to make in the VAR booth. He was saying if there was a penalty given, he was hoping that the referee would give it on the pitch so he didn't have to look at it. He was terrified of it. And to me, it hopefully this whole incident accelerates what needs to happen with VAR and with the PGMOL and the Premier League in general. is they have to be open and transparent on the communications. Every week, they should be releasing the audio for every game to hear the decision-making process of all the decisions that VAR and the on-pitch referees are making. They should be making referees available to radio and TV to be interviewed post-match on decisions. Now, there's 2 points to it. You can turn around and say, well, it'll become a witch hunt for referees, or it'll become a platform for referees to explain the decisions that they made. And look, you'll never please everyone, but at the same time, I can't believe a lack of information is a problem. And ultimately, I think things are going to be accelerated because of what Mike Dean said. I think it was eventually it was always going to happen because of what happened with the Women's World Cup, where the on-field referees are mic'd up so they explain in real time the decisions, why they made, and it was mainly if a yellow card was upgraded to a red card, they explained to the people in the ground why. I think that will come in really quickly. It needs to come in really quickly. And the other side of it is, I don't know where he goes from here, because I don't think he understands the world that he's just gone into in the media. And I think he was an arrogant referee, and you had to be, I suppose. If you're going to be a Premier League referee, you have to have a certain level of arrogance and confidence in your own ability, because I don't know how you could do the job without it. Because every week, every decision is micro-analysed to within an inch of its life. And at the minute, they don't have the power to come out and explain themselves.
So I think, Kev, I think you don't come out and explain yourself. And Shane, I'll let you jump in now. I don't think it's you release the tape. I think it's live. All the sports to do this properly, the refs are mic'd up and you can hear the decisions that are being made as they're being made. Like, take rugby, take the other football leagues that have done this, and it works brilliantly because at least fans understand the decision-making process that's going on at the time, right? Now, I said it last week. I wouldn't have Mike Dean as the loser of the week. I actually have him as one of the winners of the week because he just confirmed everything that everyone has taught, that the PGMOL are deeply incompetent, deeply corrupt, that they're making decisions based on their mates as opposed to making decisions based on the laws of the game, right? And cannot be trusted and need to have a competitor in the market so that it's not just them who have sole control over the games that are happening. You've got Howard Webb, who's running it, who I think I'm amazed the clubs have allowed him to have that position for a start, right? Because he was a very poor referee and he was deeply biased towards certain teams, and those biases exist in the existing refs that are there. So again, when you take all that, at least you had one fella, whether he was smart or just trying to maintain his position as in the media, at least he's confirmed everything that fans have about the refs in general. I don't believe they're necessarily biased for one team or another. I just think they're deeply incompetent. And if you look across the weekend as a whole and look at the decisions that are being made, it's not that you have 6 or 7 good refs and you've only got 2 or 3 that are questionable. They are incredibly poor, and the standard is getting worse each week. That Forest United game, absolute laughing matter in terms of how that was officiated. The Liverpool Newcastle game, again, another joke. From the start, there was no control in that game, and the decisions that were made were bizarre. Like the Trent thing, if they book him for the first one, he should be sent off. If he gets sent off, Van Dijk never gets sent off. Now Van Dijk could be facing a longer ban because he dared point out the fact that that your man was having a laugh in terms of the decision that he made. So I deeply disagree with your sentiment, but I agree with the overall premise that yet again here when we go to talk about football at the end of the week, right? When we go to talk about what happened at the weekend, the inordinate amount of minutes that are now being contrived by these incompetent people that are meant to officiate a game based on the laws of the game, which is down in black and white, is jarring because they're putting themselves at the center of the show when in reality they're facilitators. They aren't the people that we want to see. They have no skills and they have nothing to bring to the game. So just do your job to allow us to watch and enjoy the people that are there to bring the beauty of the game and the capability of the games that we have. You know what I mean?
But the only thing I'd say before Davo comes in is the reason why I had him as loser of the week and not the winner, because I agree with what you said. It needed to be said. It needed to be confirmed. I just honestly, I don't think he realized what he was saying when he said it. I think if you listen to the whole interview, he said it almost as a throwaway comment. Oh, I got this one wrong. I really should have done this. And he skipped on from it. It was like, it was barely a minute of an hour and a quarter interview that he had editorial control over, by the way. You know, not Simon. Simon Jordan didn't have editorial control over the interview. So he listened back to it and didn't think to take it out or didn't think anything of what he was saying. That's what I honestly don't think he understood what he was saying or the context of what he was saying, the severity of what he was saying, and what he was opening up the whole refereeing community to when he said it. That's the only reason why I haven't done as a loser of the week, because I think he's just daft as brush. I think he's just away with fairies.
Davo, give us your take.
Yeah, look, like a couple of things. It's just, I think, like Kev says, he puts it in as a throwaway comment, but it's like he like Kev was saying there, he's out of his comfort zone. He's gone into the media now. When he's in that bubble, that referee's bubble, they're protected. That's all. You're not allowed to come out. There is recriminations as in we'll take you out for a week, but you're never. Like, he was basically sat there. He done that interview with Simon Jordan. He says it in a throwaway comment that blows up in the press. It forces him, obviously the bosses, whoever at Sky, to say, listen, you're probably going to have to say something about this now the next soccer Saturday. He's in a position there that he's never been in before. I think he's out of his comfort zone big time. And you could see in his kind of, I don't know, what would you call it, a defense? I don't think it was an apology, explanation or whatever like that. He was totally out of his comfort zone. And he obviously refereed with an ego. You do need that. I think you could see his ego kind of shrinking during that, Jordan's explanation. But it's an area now. Look, you have Dermot Gallagher every Monday doing the ref watch. You have that other agent that was on BT, Walton. Is that his name?
Philip Walton.
It's turned into an industry. It's like the referee. It's turned into an industry. Decisions. I agree. They have to be mic'd up, because if I'm in that bubble, like you said there, it's after shining a light on kind of what goes on. I don't think that they go out, with the exception of that fucking Tierney fella who I think absolutely hates Jurgen Klopp. But I don't think they're kind of going out to do anyone. I agree with Phil. I think they're absolutely fucking deplorable. But I would rather them come out and say, right, here's the reason I gave that decision, and I got it wrong, or I made a balls of it. Because I'd rather someone said to you that, listen, you're after having a fucking nightmare there, rather than someone saying, do you know what, you're against my team, you're doing us, there's bias there, you're being underhanded, you're not above board, this, that, and the other. You'd much, like, I would rather someone say to me, I had a fucking nightmare there, rather than you're a cheat. So I think I agree with the both is really, as in, like, it's going to accelerate things that need to happen as regards being mic'd up, like rugby. You hear things going on. The Women's World Cup was very good at that, and I think Mike Dean is totally out of his comfort. Like, he doesn't realise it's kind of the first time he's probably after getting burned by the media while being in the media. It's his first kind of foray into it, and a throwaway comment has led to him having to come out with a big explanation on Sky Sports in front of all of Britain and Ireland, and it hasn't really gone the way he thought, and I think they're all running for cover.
Marcus Barnes agreed with you, Kev. Says you can see refs being mic'd up pretty sharp after Dean's revelations. We need transparency. I completely agree. I think, well, they are mic'd up. It's just we don't get a feed of either their audio that's live or what's going on. And I think the worst excuse ever for not putting the audio live is that they didn't want to have potential aggressive language being used on television pre-Watershed. That's just, it's nonsense, right? Because if they wanted, I think there's a 2-second delay anyway on the feed, so you could bleep out stuff that was going on if you really wanted to do it. Laszlo says he agrees with me, but can't say you have no skills and do your job in the same sentence. Laszlo, they have no skills and they can't do their job. That's my point. It's like you need to get rid of them. You need to get rid of them all and replace them with fellas who can do the job, right? And it's not irrelevant. We just need fellas that can actually do the job. As we used to have refs that could do the job, and you'd have the odd ref that was bad, but you'd have an awful lot of the ones that were okay, right? And I live okay. The best referee is the referee that you don't talk about in any way, shape, or form when the game is over. So that I think that's where we sit in this. I'd love to have one of these shows where we don't talk about the referees for 1 week, where we can have just a winner or loser that's purely based on the football, right? That to me would make me the happiest. So if we can get to that point, that would really, 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 really make me the happiest. And as I said, I'm all in favour of bringing in lads from anywhere in the world, if they're competent referees, just to make sure that we get a fair and unbiased and equal game. And when I'm saying unbiased, it's not even about the teams, it's about making sure that their mates don't make mistakes. Shane, I'm going to do something towards the end, but Shane, give us your winner of the week, because I think there's something that we can add into this show to add a bit of crack to it. So go on.
Oh, Alisson Becker for me, winner of the week. Just all like everything to do with yesterday. Post-match stuff, seems like a real leader, but his performance on the pitch, that save from Almiron, I think, is one of the best saves you'll see this season. One of the best saves you'll see ever. Slow motion doesn't do it justice. I'm actually delighted. I never thought I'd say this. I'm actually delighted Shay Given was on the panel on Sky, because he called Neville out for Neville glossing over it by just fucking barely mentioning it, basically, in his commentary. I know, Phil, you're in America and you're probably watching it on some other station, but Neville basically glossed over as if he was after just palming a handy one around the post. But Given called him out and saying it was absolutely top drawer. Second half, he makes an underrated one as well. Right before we get the winner, he's out to smother Longstaff back heel, and in the slow motion of that one does do it justice. He gets his left leg out to make the stop. But I thought his handling was excellent. His footwork was excellent. He's a great ability to shuffle across and take saves straight into his midriff that most keepers would have to dive to their left or right to save. And it's, Phil, as you will know, it's actually a very, very difficult thing to do. He shifts his feet left and right very well and gets across, so he has his full body behind it rather than him pushing off his left or right foot and going onto the deck to save them. And yeah, look, we don't get anything out of that game without that Almiron save. And I thought he was calm, composed, made the saves when he had to. Brilliant post-match. And yeah, just look, I could have went for Darwin Núñez, could have went for Klopp subs. They were running through me head because I thought Klopp subs were excellent. The ones he put on, could have went for Darwin, obviously, because I love the bones and think he's great. But Allison, for me, just that save, absolutely frighteningly good. And we get nothing out of the game without it.
I think it's a great shout. I struggled to make an argument, so I'll let Kev have a say on this one, given that he was giving Joe Gomez the winner of the week, the lunatic. So it's
there's no argument. I mean, Allison is probably the best Liverpool goalkeeper I've seen in my lifetime. He makes the ridiculously difficult look easy. The fact that he got two hands to that save, that ball from Almiron was travelling at a rate of knots. Neville come out with the line that it was in his arc. He'd expect him to save it. That was travelling at a rate of knots. And the fact that he had the strength to palm it up onto the crossbar and the awareness to palm it away after, it was unbelievable. And the thing is, there was two saves this weekend, and the other one got overshadowed, was Jose Sá's goal or save for Wolves, where he running back and he palmed it over the bar. That was an excellent save as well, but Alisson's was ridiculous. He had a shaky game, or a shaky first 15 minutes in the first home game of the season. Really shaky. His foot, he was just not at it. He was sloppy. But he has one or two of those a season where he just has a complete brain fart, almost like, I'm bored with this. But for the rest of the season, he's usually right on it. And he was outstanding yesterday. Absolutely outstanding. His vision as well is something that gets underrated. Even towards the end, you could see him coming to the edge of his box with that, because you notice the way he kicks the ball out. Sometimes he'll go long if he has to, but he'll side foot it as well. And he's so good at doing it. It's so accurate as well. And he's always looking for that one over the top for Salah or for someone to run onto. And you fancy him getting that ball right more often than not. I just think he's an outstanding keeper. And the longer we have him at the club, the better, because we're going to be poorer for him the day he goes.
Mm-hmm.
The only one that feels sorry for all this is Caoimhín Kelleher. The poor kid is just, what a thing to live up to. Like.
But I don't think it is. I think there's an element that the lads are getting to. And I put up Emmett's comment that he's getting out. He's almost to Clemence's level. He's way past Clements. He's way past any Liverpool goalkeeper we've ever had. Right? There's no even comparison. This guy at the moment is the best goalkeeper in the world. We've never, as a club, had the best goalkeeper at the world at his peak until we got this fella. And he is off the charts. Brilliant. I'm going to say something that Shane's going to go mad over, right? But now you have to allow for the speed of the ball. But I was a bit disappointed with the first save. I thought he gets a good strong hand on it and he could have palmed it away a bit better than it was. He made a bit of a meal out of it. He was lucky that it went off the underside of the post. It was the second level reaction.
He's I think he's unsighted, Phil, and the thing is fucking moving 100 mile an hour. Do you know what I mean? I when you watch a slow motion, you do think that. You think, like it's kind of close to him and whatnot, but slow motion doesn't do it justice. Not in the slightest. Just not in the slightest. Yeah, look, I take your point. But
I will say,
I thought when you watch it in real time, I think it's an absolutely fucking outstanding save.
I'm only messing, by the way. Like you're always happy with those, but I actually think that the second level reaction off it is even more impressive than the save. The save is phenomenal, right? And they're what goalkeepers practice over and over and over again, right? But the awareness, the flexibility, and the agility to deal with the second level ball in terms of that reaction afterwards is off the charts. Because if he puts it anywhere bar out for a corner, they probably score. Let's be honest about it. There's a load of bodies in there. It could even go in off his own players and go into the back.
Just funny. Sorry for cutting across. Phil. Funny is to say that I watched an angle of it today, and when it hits the bar and it's coming down, he actually pulls his hand away a little bit because he doesn't want to hit. He doesn't want it to hit off him and go in, and then he puts the hand back up and claws it back out. So just the angle. I just seen a replay of it today, and I just kind of noticed him pulling his hand away slightly as it bounced because he didn't want it to hit him and go in, and then he claws it away. It's phenomenal.
The best compliment I can give him on the style of save and comparable to it, right? I was talking to one of the lads today who's an Arsenal fan and worker. I said the best way I can describe this is that generational goalkeepers always make extraordinary saves still look quite ordinary. And it's what Schmeichel did. It's what Neuer has done. And it's that style of save. And I'll say it as well. It is when you look back and you look at peak David Seaman, and people might laugh at this, but it's a very Seaman-esque style save in terms of that there is a brilliant save, but a brilliant second reaction. And it's like, as I said, the bit for me goes back to the second reaction, the second level of the save, because the first bit, you see goalkeepers every now and then get away with it to get a touch. It does something that looks amazing in terms of what's there. But that second reaction is just off the charts. Off the charts. It's off the charts. And I agree with you. He's won us so many games, and he has even won a game for us. So it's like he's just, of all the signings we've made in the Klopp era, you can look at the Van Dijk and Allison signings being absolutely transformative in what they've brought to the club, and they're still there, and what they're still bringing to the club, and hopefully what they're going to do for a long time afterwards. So I just. Honest to God, I'm so delighted he's a Liverpool player and he hasn't taken the Saudi Arabian money just yet. And hopefully we have him for many years to come. Like that's the most important thing I can say. We're 53 minutes. So look, what I want to do is I want to do 180 seconds of rapid fire winners and losers, right? Because there's so many this weekend that we need to get through. So I know you haven't, but I want these off the top of your head. And there's been a lot that have dropped in into the chats, right? So I'm going to start off, okay, with a loser. Your man Jason Tyndall, or whatever his name is, the defunct boy band member off the Newcastle sideline. What an absolute bellend. He's literally turned himself into a meme for the rest of all time, and I just want to congratulate him on being one of the top level losers of the week, because it's very special to get to that piece.
Yeah, I can't understand why he would have wanted to do it, because he knows the cameras are on him, and above all sides to do it to. You never write this side off. If you're going to do something like that and be as arrogant as what he was, you have to get the job done, and they didn't. and it couldn't happen to a nicer pair of spare.
It is, and I just want to point out to anyone that's online, Klopp didn't do it back to him. That was a Photoshop.
Fakey, yeah. I fell for that one myself.
So Shane, you're also on a loser of the week for being done by that. However, winner of the week, Shane, give me a quick one.
Winner of the week. I think the subs. I was going to go for Klopp subs. I thought everyone that made a big impact. I thought it was the same at Chelsea as well, and obviously the same at Bournemouth. We managed to get a goal straight after we get a man sent off. But yeah, particularly yesterday, I thought Elliott and Jota were excellent when they come on. Obviously, we spoke about Gomez. I thought the subs. I thought and it's something that Klopp has got stick in the past over making poor subs and not making them at the right times and whatnot. But brilliant yesterday. I thought the subs were brilliant.
Okay, my loser of the week, my quick fire loser of the week is United's goalkeeper, who also plays centre midfield for Everton, right? I'm just going to say something. When he signed them, I had no idea what the hell they were doing, and it's panning out that way. But long may it continue. Mm-hmm. It's like Taibbi crossed with all the worst bits of Barthez, crossed with all the worst bits of the goalkeepers they signed up until they signed De Gea. So long may that continue. Long may he never get dropped, and long may that have a great piece. Kev, a winner for me?
Winner for you, not Liverpool related, would be Spurs. Ange Postecoglou. He's turned the Conte side into the side that I wouldn't mind going out to watch. They've turned them, and it was interesting at the end of the game is more of you Spurs fans chanting, "We've got our Spurs back," or "We've got our Tottenham back," and you can tell why they want to play that way. It's exciting. It's good football to watch. I think he's had a great start. I think he's been brilliant with the media as well. It's that Aussie charm, that Aussie fucking straight point talking. Since with his 45 million been a bargain signing and what have you, when he's talking about James Maddison. I just think, I was really impressed with what he's done in a short space of time at Spurs. We played him in a couple of weeks too, I think, don't we? Yeah.
Shane, what did you give me a winner or loser there? Give me a winner.
I gave you a winner.
Okay, give me a loser then, quick.
A loser.
It's quick for it.
It's quick for it. I had one there and I have to lose me train of thought. Fuck.
Your train of thought now is a loser of the week, so
I can't think of it. It'll come back to me.
Well, I'll give a loser of the week, the Spanish Football Federation, for being absolutely imbeciles, right? Like let's be honest about this. To talk about being absolutely incompetent, they're up there with the PGMOL, right? They've created an absolute farce. They've got the government involved. FIFA have sanctioned the government getting involved. Your man has been suspended. The resignation.
They asked you away for to throw them out of all their competitions.
It's unbelievable.
Your man's gone on hunger strike in a church.
Your man Rubiales, his mother's on hunger strike in a church. You can't make this out. You can't make this up. It's absolutely bizarre. It's off the charts. Like, this should have been easily, swiftly, and handily dealt with. And instead, they've turned literally a nub in the ground into a mountain of fire at this point in time, and it's just going. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to literally have to get sorted out. Kev, before I die, give me
last loser of the week. Gary fucking Neville. The piss was boiled out of his fucking soul when he destroyed Peter Drury's brilliant commentary yesterday. And Peter Drury's a breath of fresh air. Gary Neville was an absolute joke. And the sooner he's taken off Liverpool games, and Carragher taken off United games, and our games, the two of them should never be co-commentators ever again. He is an absolute disaster area. He cannot commentate on games. He doesn't see games like without bias in his voice. He can't do it. And he thinks that's entertainment. It fucking isn't. Peter Drury was entertaining yesterday. Peter Drury was someone you'd want to listen to for 95 minutes. You don't need that other fucking mug next to him.
No, listen, here's my loser. Chris is after reminding me, Carragher at half-time. I don't know what he was talking about. It was like a fella talking, wasn't watching the same match. He basically tried to say Isak's wasn't a goal scoring opportunity. If you give the foul, he was gone. And I was like, what are you fucking talking about? The man, if that ball gets, if Isak takes that ball past Van Dijk, he's in on Allison. I couldn't believe what I was listening to. Absolutely fucking mad carry on.
Isn't the only adaptation of that rule is that if it happens in the box and you get a penalty given away, that it's a yellow card?
Yeah, if it's a genuine attempt to play the ball. Now, if you go in and slantle someone on purpose, you can still get the double jeopardy.
Yeah. So
it was a genuine attempt to play the ball inside the box. You're grand. It's a yellow card, and it was a genuine attempt to play the ball. He tried to nick it. Van Dijk got the timing of his run wrong. He got the angle of his run wrong, and he just mistimed the tackle. But as soon as he gave the foul, he had nowhere else to go. The laws of the game said it's a red card. Not the tackle, not the severity of the tackle. It's just where Isaac was in relation to the goal. There's no one else on the cover. It's a red card.
My final one, my final loser of the week is Elon Musk, for every single reason that he exists at this moment in time. But he now's got it into his head because some random mad right-wing American has told him that anyone can vote in an Irish election, and he's coming over to vote in our Irish general elections. The level of stupidity that man has is off the charts, and best of luck with that one. I can't wait to see it turn up at an election booth in Ireland, and getting abused by some fella down. He should go down to the Healy-Rae constituency and see how he gets on, announcing that he's over
fit
here.
Right in, for fuck's sake.
I don't know. It's very protective.
Oh no! Listen, the best one I saw over here. I don't know if you've seen it or not. Was the Lord Mayor of Cork City turning around, and there was protesters outside the library in Cork because they don't like the books that are inside the library and what have you. You know the kind of fees that are on about. So
down with that type of thing.
Well, your man turned around. The Lord Mayor of the city decided to start singing the song from Oklahoma at the top of his voice, right in your man's face, and just kept blaring it out for as long as he could. And the poor fella doing his protest, he didn't have a clue where he was going. It's the best thing I've seen all weekend. It's fucking hilarious.
And he's one of the winners of the week. So with that has been winners and losers of the week. There is many, many more that we can cover off. As I said, the quick fire at the end gives us a good chance to go through everything that we've missed and everything we want to catch up with. This has been... Kev, am I meant to do something? Gav sent me a voice message, and I keep saying to him, look, I don't listen to voice messages on messages. You either text it or don't. I'm way too old at this stage. I'm a proper grumpy old man at this point in time, right? So, and I've just refused to accept certain things now, right? And I'm allowed. It's in my own want as a man of my age, so I can do whatever I want. So, yeah, that's the simple fact is, if you don't text it to me, I'm not going to be listening. If I want to listen to your voice, I'll ring you. This is what text messaging is for. It was invented in the 90s, and I like it. So keep it going. So. Do we have anything to plug? Is there the super chats that came in tonight will go towards the Ashburn GA. I think it's 14 women doing the Dublin Marathon in October. I think it's mid-October, isn't it? The Dublin Marathon, so it's not far away. But yeah, any super chats, anything that's thrown in will go towards the charity. The link is going to be in the description for anyone who needs to get at it. If you can share it, share it. If you can donate, even better again. You know, YouTube takes their cut, so you know some of that money tonight will go towards a charity. Others will go to YouTube. If you want to just support the charity direct, the links are on the socials. The links are in the YouTube descriptions, and any donations are greatly appreciated. Excellent stuff. And one last chat there from Laszlo Panaflex. Up the Maz. That is a strange chat to throw in there. I don't know the context of it, but especially in Ireland, it's a mad one to put in there. But I'll leave it there just for brevity and for everything else that's going on. Where am I? That was, of course, winners and losers. I've been your host, Phil. There's loads of things going on this week. Again, nobody, as I said, I haven't listened to Gav's message. I haven't a clue. So I'm sure there's loads of shows. There'll be a match on, and there'll be matches before. The people talking before the games. There'll be people talking after the games. There'll be Fat Back 4, which often has 2 and 3 people on these days. It doesn't make sense. It's like it should be called the Fat Back at this stage. And then Kev, is the lady show still going?
Chris will be probably recording that when it all kicks off. The season starts off in October. I think we've got a show Thursday night with a Spurs fan coming on to talk about the week that's just gone. So I'd be interested to get their point of view and what Ange is doing and how they're enjoying life under him. Life without Kane. Super. See how they're going with that.
Excellent.
All that good stuff.
Perfect. And that's been it. Shane, thank you very much for coming along.
No bother. Good to see you, lads.
Kev, it's been lovely to have your dulcet Cork/Yorkshire tones yet again. It's a phenomenal blend of accents that you have there.
Well travelled.
It is well travelled. You'd confuse me now if I was on holidays and I was sitting down to have a pint and I wanted to make a friend with somebody, and you started talking like, nah, I'll just take the paper up instead, right? That's what it is. I've been your host, Phil. That has been the show. I'm still trying to click all the things to make it work, but if I get the right one, we should be out of here. Just now, hang on, we're still live, aren't we?